Good morning, Francine. Thank you for making time to chat with me. I am Madeline Berg. I am the Director of Content with Seed World Group, and with me is Francine Sayoc, the new Executive Director with the Asia and Pacific Seed Alliance. Welcome, Francine.
Thank you, Madeline. Thanks for having me, and good evening to you. Quite a bit of a time difference between the two of us, but I'm really glad.
Indeed.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For sure. Technology allows amazing things these days. Yours is, of course, a very well-known name in the seed industry. You said 14 years in the seed sector, most recently as the communications manager with ISF. I think that's how a lot of people in the industry, of course, know you. And previously to that, the group communications manager with East West Seed International in Thailand. So as you get started with APSA, what are you feeling most excited about?
Well, first of all, I'm really excited to be back in Asia. Like you said, I was here before I moved to Switzerland for the ISF role. So it's really nice to be back, and it's another unique chance to contribute to the region where I'm from. Asia, of course, is a very dynamic seed market, and very competitive, very entrepreneurial. And I believe the seed sector really has a central role to play in a region where 60% of the global population lives. A big chance for the sector to contribute to food security and sustainable agriculture goals. And where a lot of the food is still produced by smallholder farmers. So there's a very vast window of opportunity there for the seed sector to really play an active and dynamic role. I'm also excited to bring my communications experience to the role at APSA. APSA, of course, has a very huge advocacy role, and for the seed industry. And someone who has worked in comms for a long time, I think I can bring a few skills I've picked up along the way. One of these is, I think, the ability to find and insist on clarity, to improve understanding and to train people's focus on what's really important, so that efforts and resources can be leveraged and make the most impact. I think that's something I'm also very excited to bring into the role. Excited to work as well with the Secretariat. APSA has a group of very dynamic, very professional and young team. So yeah, that's also something I really look forward to, as well as working with the executive committee of APSA, who are all seed leaders in their own right. So yeah, lots of things to be excited about.
For sure. Now, I can imagine, despite having experience in the sector, despite having experience in communications, these first few weeks have still probably been extremely intense. Can you speak a little bit about some of the issues that you're tackling right from the get-go?
I wouldn't call them issues, but or challenges in a bad way, but still part of that whole excitement. I would say it's the biggest challenge for me is understanding as much as I can, and seeing the forest for the trees. You know, it's very easy to get sucked into the minute details of operation, but it's very important as well to take time to look at long-term things and more strategic directions for the organization. I ask a lot of questions to everybody. I think that's part of my journalistic training, and that helps me as well to understand the nuances and the context of things. I kind of hit the ground running when I joined APSA, because I'm not a stranger to the association. I've worked in the Asian vegetable sector, and then I worked for ISF, so I'm well acquainted with APSA. But I also want to look at everything with fresh eyes. I believe in continuous improvement, and only doing things that add value. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. And of course, keeping the motivation high at the secretariat is one of the priorities for me in the role.
Can you speak to some of your specific goals if you were to, look back a year from now? Are there specific projects that you or perhaps your board has tasked you with, specific initiatives or changes that you're hoping to achieve in the coming months?
Yeah, sure. I had a chance to meet with the executive committee and the office bearers last November in Christchurch. I attended the Asian Seed Congress, and I sat in a meeting then as an invited guest. But it was very helpful. It was very useful in giving me insight into what they thought were priorities, and from there I kind of have my marching orders. The first one is to build a strategic roadmap for APSA from 2024 onwards. And central to that really is enhancing the technical capacity and addressing knowledge gaps to better advocate for the seed sector. So harmonizing policy in the region and encouraging the kind of environment where business could thrive is one of the priorities, one of the main points of that strategic roadmap. Another part of that is, of course, member engagement. We are a member-based organization, so part of our focus is to keep the membership growing. At the moment, we have more than 500 members, but there are thousands of seed actors in this very huge region. So we want to be able to reach out to them as well. And I think when we do that, we need to better articulate and define APSA's value proposition to its members and potential members as well. Another priority is to strengthen partnerships with organizations that can support us in our work and have common objectives as us. And also, I'm coming into the role in a year that it's the 30th anniversary of APSA as an organization. So, really leveraging that and maximizing that milestone for more outreach and also to recognize the people who have contributed a lot to this association. That's how we want to use that anniversary. Um, Talent is one other big chunk of our vision for the next few years, engaging the youth. There are currently programs that APSA is running on this, like the University Connect and APSA Young Club, and we want to see how we can take those initiatives further to match and to connect business with talent and to help bring more young people into the seed sector.
Absolutely. So critically important. Can we speak a little bit about your comment about membership there? Obviously, maintaining relevancy is something that is so critical to every member-based organization. Are you planning on tackling that in specific ways? Would individual members or potential members see differences in how APSA is moving forward? Are there perhaps opportunities that APSA can move forward with, and other organizations that are also looking towards member engagement might consider?
Yeah, I think part of it is getting to know first the current set of members that we have, and really asking them what APSA is to them, and what they expect from the association. I think a lot of our members are attracted to become members of APSA because of the seed congresses. And this year, it's a very big congress. We expect it will be in China, in Sanya, and we expect that will attract a lot of people to take memberships and take part of the congress. It's a business congress, and people come there to trade and to exhibit their latest products and innovations. But beyond that, I think there's still a lot that we can offer to members And that's how I mentioned earlier that we want to define our value proposition more. I think our members would be interested to know all the technical work that we're doing as well, and the member programs where we encourage knowledge sharing, capacity building. So promoting those initiatives that are being done by the Secretariat, I think will be a huge part of that.
Absolutely. Now, your experience with ISF certainly was targeting a global audience. Can you speak at all about how APSA is going to be, how sort of under your direction, APSA is going to be working with other similar um, seed agencies?
Yeah. Well, the seed sector, no matter how big it is, it's also kind of still a family, a seed community, and being from ISF before and having that experience and meeting those actors that are on a regional and international level, I want to leverage on those connections and keep those connections strong, and see where we can better, streamline our focus, and to see how we can complement each other's efforts and actions. And I think, yeah, the fact that I'm from the industry would be very helpful in this.
For sure. Let me jump back to a more Asia specific focus. Are there specific challenges in the seed sector in Asia that you think APSA needs to have a bigger role in, a stronger hand in, more direction?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, right now, the industry, I think, and speaking from a general point of view, I think the industry faces a lot of pressures right now. And in the Asian context, there are still many challenges in seed movement. But different countries have different policies, and these create non-tariff barriers to international seed movement, and prevent the efficient movement of seed. We also see some emerging and quite worrisome policies in some countries that prevent cross-border seed movement, and these are often not based on science or risk-based assessment. Um, I think, in my opinion, these are quite misguided. And when you close off your borders, it's important to remember that no country can be fully independent when it comes to seed production. And the food system is so intricate and so interconnected that isolation doesn't really protect your food security. In fact, it endangers it. And I think that's a message that we want to share with especially our public sector partners. Um, Similarly, policies that govern the use of the latest plant breeding technologies, I think these need looking after, because plant breeders need access to a wide range of tools for them to be able to accelerate the pace of innovation and to keep up with the changing demands of farmers and consumers, and of course the pressures of a changing climate. Um, our main message, maybe my main message that I want to share, is that when the regulatory framework is not aligned with business, it's not just the industry that suffers, but investment in innovation too. And when that happens, R&D slows down, and so does the delivery of innovation to farmers. They're all interconnected, so we need good policies as a foundation of everything, so that the seed sector can do what it does best. Um, and speaking of innovation, cultivating respect for intellectual property is also another priority of APSA, and that's on several fronts. On the regulatory side, we want to promote mechanisms that safeguard the innovations developed by plant breeders, and assure them a return on their investment, of their time, of their effort, and financial resources, so that they keep delivering innovation to farmers. Um, Also, on the industry side, we want to promote respect for IP by fighting seed piracy. And the message here is that in the business of seed, there are no shortcuts, and this is an industry that is rooted in patience and trust and integrity, and these are the only ways for a seed company to succeed and to keep and win the loyalty of farmers. So that's something that we also want to push. And a lot of these challenges that I've mentioned can be solved by dialogue, um, constructing avenues to bring decision makers and industry actors together, bring them in the table and arrive at common solutions. I think that's where APSA can really add value.
The world is big, the seed sector is small, and when you speak of the priorities, those are critical priorities for APSA, also critical priorities in regions around the world. So certainly opportunities to work together for harmonization and advocacy of regulation across the board. I'm not surprised to hear you are jumping in with both feet, but certainly not slow starting with the role. You have plans to make an impact.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to do that, and also because I come at a good time. I'm building on a very strong legacy of APSA at the moment. I think it's we're in a sweet spot where we can do a lot in the coming years.
Certainly building on the legacy that Chod Choi left behind her.
Yes, yes. I also want to take this opportunity to recognize all that she has done for the association. She led efforts to ensure that APSA's legal compliance was done in a very good way under Thai and Singapore law, and this enabled us to continue our operations. And it involved a lot of outreach and engagement with key partners, and both from the public and private sectors, and really fine attention to detail. So I know that took a lot of work. And she brought transparency and stability to APSA's operations, which I'm very lucky to inherit, because, like I said, it sets us up for future success. And now we can be more ambitious, I think, and strategic on how to use our license to operate, because that part is secure now. Um, and it sets a strong foundation for international cooperation with key organizations like ISTA or ISF, UPA of the OECD, the USDA, for example, and as I mentioned earlier, my regional seed association counterparts. And I hope that with my experience in international partnerships and communications, I'll be able to carry that torch and build on these foundations, and elevate APSA to greater heights. That's what we all want for the association.
We look forward to watching and being part of making that happen. Francine, thank you for making time for us. I know how busy you are, and I enormously appreciate the time you've made today.
Thank you, Madeline. I appreciate your time as well. And thanks for having this conversation with me.